So, when you hear the name Judy Murray, you might think of world-class tennis coaching, fierce courtside support, and of course, raising two Grand Slam champions, Andy and Jamie. But there's another side to Judy that's turning just as many heads as a crime novelist. Following the success of her debut, she's back with a gripping second novel, Game, Set and Murder, and it's a deliciously twisty thriller set in the high-stakes world of competitive club tennis. You can expect secrets and rivalries and one very suspicious death that shakes a tight-knit community to its core. So I'm so excited to welcome Judy Murray to my book club today to chat about her love of storytelling, the parallels between elite sport and suspense fiction, and how she's carving out a whole new chapter as a novelist. Hi, Judy. Good morning to you.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes, because it was a year ago that we chatted about the wild card, which had incredible parallels that year as well to the Wimbledon Championships, didn't it? And
Yeah, Wildcard came out about 2 years ago, and the paperback came out last year.
yeah,
So we did another wave of PR around it. But yeah, because the Wildcard was basically set in the backdrop of Wimbledon, there was an opportunity for me to share lots of behind the scenes info that people wouldn't otherwise have privy to.
well, of course, that's exactly it. You are tapping in to your expertise about tennis and rivalries and what goes on at local tennis clubs, in fact. And I think you've done that very well with Game, Set and Murder. You have created the scene of basically what it feels like to be in a home counties tennis club and what goes on there. So it is your second novel. Was there something that inspired this particular story, or did you just think, oh, I know what I'm going to do next? It's going to be this?
I think an option to do a follow up to Wildcard, as in what happened next to Abby Patterson. But actually, I really love whodunits. That crime novels are basically the thing that I usually go for, unless I'm going on holiday, and then I probably pick up some kind of easy to read holiday romance type, typical women's fiction for me. But yeah, I really wanted to do. I really wanted to do a murder. I always reckon we've all got a murder in us if the situation is right. And of course, they say you should only write about what you know. So, of course, I grew up through community tennis clubs, and also being part of teams. I know the power and the importance of friendships within those teams, and the fun that you can have, and obviously the friendships that can last a lifetime. But yeah, so I decided to set it in a tennis club, and of course there is a murder right at the start of it. Of the coach, and then the suspicion obviously falls on who is around at the time and who might have a motive. And we start to explore all the characters in the ladies team, the club manageress and so forth. And yeah, and you're sort of led along this path as to who actually might have done this. So but it gave me an opportunity to explore lots of other things along the way as part of the story.
Yes, you do. You do touch on lots of other topics, which we'll get into. But I think I almost felt like there was a touch of the Agatha Christie to this one. The way you start with the murder and then we patter backwards and get to know each of the characters and listen through each of their voices. So the four women who have created a close bond and sort of a gentle rivalry, but a support as well. And they have met later in life, haven't they? Not quite midlife for some of them, but they all come from very different places. So tell me a little bit about how you developed those characters, the four women.
Yeah, I think there was an opportunity to explore the whole thing of they come together obviously through their love of tennis, their enjoyment of being part of a team. They're working hard to win the county championships, the county league. So there's a big celebration and so forth. But it's the bringing together of four, as you say, very different characters, very different backgrounds. You've got a couple of sisters in there. One of them is married to the coach. You've got two others, one from South America, one who's American. The husbands come into it as well, or the partners come into it as well. So there's lots of and as you go through, you realise that all of them have a reason to dislike this rather odious coach. um, but yeah, I think there's this story within each of the characters and their personal circumstances. But I think for me, it was trying to show the fun that they have, the training, the I suppose the working towards the goal of winning this county league, the fact that the club is so very proud of them and everything that comes with that. So yeah, and I've been to many tennis clubs, as you can imagine, all around the world. So there was lots of bits of lots of different things that I was able to bring into that. But also we have a character whose husband has MND. I have
Yes.
a couple of friends who've lost their partners to MND, and a number of significant people actually within the global world of tennis who have died from that disease. So it was a chance to talk a little bit about that and the challenges of living with that, whether it's you that's affected or whether you are the support group, the family around it. So it allowed me to bring in pickleball. 100%.
So I love the way you do manage to bring in these threads of different things. You look at the way that county clubs need to finance and consider expansion in that way of pickleball. So you are pulling in all these threads of knowledge that you have, which I think lends a great deal of authenticity to this novel. You write really well, Judy. So readable. Like I told you before that I read The Wild Card in a day. This one, I just hoovered it up really quickly because it is a little bit like Cluedo. It's a little bit like an Agatha Christie. If you like, a relationship building and you like something that is about the support of women as they look after each other. And once again, I noticed that I can't fail to notice, but you bring in these, the topic of abuse in terms of control and coercion and overstepping the mark in power play for coaches and players and domestically. So can you tell me a bit more about that? It comes from a place that it seems like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think in Wildcard, which of course was my first fiction novel, I'd done my memoir a few years before that, which obviously is based on your life and in lots of ways is easier. You just go through it chronologically and you're just remembering everything that's going on. But I think the great thing with fiction is that you can really go anywhere. And I saw immediately an opportunity to raise awareness of some of the issues that still exist for women in sport. Obviously, we explored the abuse of power in the coach pupil relationship through the wild card, and here was an opportunity to explore that kind of gaslighting, coercion that starts quite subtly but can build and build and build and really undermines a woman's self-esteem, confidence, and when you let it go on too long, it almost like just becomes your norm, and you're accepting that that's just how it has to be. So yeah, I saw an opportunity to explore that, and obviously, like you said, the power of the friendship of the female group, of kind of looking out for you and trying to help to support you through something that others from the outside can see as perfectly wrong, and yet you are accepting of it because it has become your norm. So yeah, I was able to explore that as well, but also just the ego, I think, of I see that a lot. Obviously, I'm a female coach. You tend to not find egos in female coaches, but there's a lot of egos in in male coaches, that especially those who have played the game to a good level. And actually, my argument is anybody can coach at the top level, because coaching is face to face. It's all about relationships, communication, tailoring what you do and how you do it to the user group that's in front of you. And it's not about, well, I'm the former player and I'm really good, so you should watch me and listen to me. So I've always kind of felt like I've kind of fought against that on behalf of women coaches especially. So yeah, it gave me an opportunity to explore a lot of things that I would want to raise awareness of through Game, Set and Murder.
You are good at that. You've been an advocate for women's sport, of course, for, decades now. And, your voice is so strong, obviously, in the world of tennis. I think this can only add a string to your bow that you bring these issues to the fore to get people talking about them. Talking of which, Has your family read either your first or your second? And do Andy and Jamie have they read them, and what do they think about their mum's new career as a novelist?
I think that my kids are not great readers, and I've always seen both of my fiction novels as being women's fiction. So I have to say I haven't forced it on them. They are aware of the content of what I've written about them, because I had to prepare them for all of that in case they were asked about about any of it. But yeah, I think I see these very much as women's fiction. So yeah, so long as they know what it's about, and they're happy that I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And I think that also is the that thing that we spoke about when we spoke about Wildcard, is that thing of trying new things, of doing something different instead of just doing the same thing all my life. Very easy for me just to continue coaching and so forth. But I really wanted to try to do some new things, and it opens you up into a whole new world, that whole literary world for me, and the publicity tour that you go on when you do a book. I mean, I've loved doing the book festivals. It helps you enormously with your public speaking, but it really gets you in front of live audiences and able to share obviously the story of the book, but also all the threads that are mixed up in it, which lets you talk about things that you believe in, or you feel very strongly about, things that you would like to expose, or you would like to change, perhaps. So yeah, it's been an interesting experiment for me. I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
You are a trier of all things. I mean, you are a great role model for women in midlife. I mean, you've had a go at dancing, pretty good at that, and
Dreadful
you've
at
picked
that.
up golf clubs, and you've turned out to be really extraordinarily good at golfing. And I think you only started that, was that a year or two ago? You even started playing golf.
Yeah, I started about 3 years ago now. I would like to play a lot more. I think with grandkids and elderly parents and various pockets of work, I still work for the WTA. I do a lot of the community engagement globally for them. It's not an onerous role for me in terms of the amount of time, but it keeps me involved at the top end of the game, and it's doing what I really am passionate about, which is growing my sport. It's building workforces. It's showcasing tennis to people who've never tried it before against the backdrop of the major events. So I have enough of that involvement still on the tennis side, but it gives me time to do the other things in my personal life, and that I might want to explore as, I suppose, different
A
career
writer, a
options.
hotelier. You have Cromlix, don't you? Which I know is doing really, really well.
So
Going to look very different this year, isn't it, Wimbledon? For the British public, anyway.
yeah, I'm going to be there I think just in the first week. I've actually been invited to play in a golf pro-am the following week, which is a 3-day thing at Gleneagles. And I played in it once before a couple of years ago, but I'm gonna do that. But I'm actually quite Jamie will be playing in the doubles and in the mix, but I'm actually quite looking forward to going to Wimbledon without the stress of of watching Andy, and actually being able to watch the tennis without really caring who wins or not.
Well, we'll be looking at Carlos, I think, this year to have a good inroad into that last week. I'm pretty sure he'll be up there with the last four at the very least. So you've got two novels under your belt. Is this going to be a series? Are you going to have a third? What's next for you?
I'm not sure. I think obviously the when you do a book, the hardback comes out first, and then the paperback follows, usually the following year. So there's quite a lot to do in terms of the book tour, the promotion of it. So yeah, this I'll have a think about whether there's another one, and if so, which direction it goes in, or whether I go in a completely different direction. I have a notion actually to do a children's book. I think that's because I have so many grandchildren and I read so much to them. And a bit like with Wildcard and Game Set and Murder, I know the kind of books that I like to read and the way that they're written. And that obviously forms how you would write yourself, because it's how you enjoy reading it and so forth. So I have a little bit of a notion to do a children's book that has some kind of some kind of gentle tennis theme in there, because you can actually very subtly embed tennis into the world of children through a children's book. I see that with all sorts of the books that I read to my grandchildren. So you never know. Watch this space.
Definitely. And finally, what's in your bedside table? What are you reading at the moment?
Actually, I am reading The Murders at Fleet House by Lucinda Riley. I've only just started that. It's actually sitting here in front of me just now. So I did my books with Orion, and they are really, really good at sending me all the sort of new books that are coming out that they know that I will like. So I'm about to start this one. So it's murders, of course, murder mystery. So there you go. Right, my cup of tea.
Perfect. Well, Judy, thanks so much for joining me today on my book club at Brooklands Radio. It's really been a pleasure talking to you again about tennis and twists and fiction. And Game, Set and Murder is a brilliant read. What's the date it is out, Judy?
It's coming out on the 3rd of July, so it's
It's out today, available through all good booksellers. And if you want to follow Judy on Instagram, they will find you at
Judy Murray _
Judy
That's
Murray
me.
_ and you're always sharing lots of tidbits on Cromlix and on paddle if you're interested in that, and all your tennis goings on. You're always such a support to the tennis world. So Judy Murray, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Michelle.